Scholars.
Teacher.
Okay, so earlier we were talking about Ferdinand, right? And Ferdinand was a bull, and he was a boy bull. So we are going to get ready to come down to the carpet so we can finish reading all about Ferdinand. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see who's sitting up nice and straight and who is ready to come down first. Ooh, I think my boys are ready. So I'd say my boys who are wearing white shirts today, you may come down. Oh, there's only one. My boys who are in their red uniform shirts may come down to the carpet. Leave the jacket, please. Come on down. Let's put her in there. My boys who are in cool shirts like mine, you may come down. Friends who are in gray shirts, you may come down. My girls with barrettes, you may come down. Quickly, please. Quick. She has a clip right there. Yeah. My girls with bows, you may come down. Or ribbons. And my last two girls, come on down. Bless you again. Okay, you sit behind Destiny. No. Okay, so earlier we were reading about Ferdinand, right?
Yes.
Who remembers what had just happened in our book right before we stopped? What had just happened, Stephen?
He got stung.
He got stung by a what?
Bee.
He got stung by a bee, right?
Thank you.
If you got stung by a bee, what would you do? Ooh, what would you do, Rodney?
If I got stung by a bee, I'd get the fly whacker and I'd whack it.
I don't think I'd want to whack the bee. What would you do if you were stung by a bee? What would you do, Kendrell?
I will put something that would make it feel better when I got stung.
So like you would put some medicine on it or something?
Yeah, or like a cold thing.
Oh, yeah, or like an ice pack. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's gonna swell up. Ayana, last one. What would you do if you got stung by a bee?
I would do if I got stung by a bee is I would tell my mama.
Yeah, I would probably call my mommy too. I don't know what to do. Right? What is it? Oh, ouch. Well, I'm very sorry. Okay, so this morning we were practicing how to remember what we were learning about this morning. What were we talking about?
We were learning about questions.
We were learning about questions. We were learning about how to ask questions and how to answer questions, right? And we were using our story, the story of Ferdinand, to ask and answer questions about the book, so about the text. Am I correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Right, so far I'm on a roll. Okay, so earlier you guys came up with a whole list of questions and we got a lot of them answered. Then while we were reading the book, we had 1, 2, 3 more questions that we came up with, right? So let's write those down on our new chart. And they are in orange. So Destin, can you read us our first orange question?
Why does he like to smell flowers?
So why? So this is the question that we had when we started reading earlier, right? So why does, can I just put an F, a letter F for Ferdinand so I don't have to write the whole word? Is that okay?
Why does
So why does F like to, what is it, Destiny?
like smelling flowers?
To smell
Flowers.
Rodney, can you read us the second orange question?
How will Ferdinand feel?
Oh, that was a very good one. How will F feel?
Oh!
Just leave it. I don't even care.
Oh.
You know, he just knocks stuff down and throws stuff on Mary.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Steven, go ahead.
Where will we get stung?
So we were wondering, where is Ferdinand gonna get stung? Mary, can you put that back together? Where will
Put your shirt down.
he get stung? So those were the questions that we had before we finished the book. So we're gonna call those before reading questions because we're gonna finish right now. Okay? So you ready? Who remembers why it was important that we ask questions while we're reading? Why is it important to ask questions while we're reading? Madison, you told us earlier. You want to tell us again? Why is it important to ask questions while we're reading?
So we can get so we can go on this. So we can know a little bit more about the story.
Yeah, so we can learn a little bit more about the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we ask questions, it helps us to understand, it helps us to remember what we read, and it keeps us engaged, or it keeps us excited about what we're reading about, okay? So let's see if I can find where we left off. Let's see. So this is right where he, remember this part?
Yeah.
Yeah? Remember that? Oh. So this is where we were. So he was sitting down, and he just got stung. So let's continue to read. Can you scoot back a little bit? You guys are a little close. Harmony, fix your body. Will, fix your body. So, wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around, puffing and snorting, butting and pawing at the ground as if he were crazy. Oh my goodness, he jumped so high off the ground. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all. Just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. Remembers, why were the men looking for a bull again? Why were those guys looking for a bull, Nakira?
Because they wanted to find they wanted a bull but they want the bulls to fight.
What kind of bull were they looking for? Were they looking for a nice bull? What were they looking for? They were looking for a fierce bull, right? Fierce, like angry and terrifying and scary. So, they took him away for the bullfight in a cart. They took him in a cart.
That's a fight.
Not yet. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. What questions do we have now? What questions do we have now? Ayana?
Question that we have now is some ladies have flowers.
Is that a question?
No.
No, can you make that into a question? Maybe what might happen because the Yeah, so what might happen if the ladies have flowers in their hair? That's a good question to think about while we're reading, right? So let's write it down. What? Oops, that's dirty. What might happen? Ooh, I am not using lines. I'm gonna write because, BC, the ladies have flowers. Oh. So how will Ferdinand feel when he got stung? How did he feel? How did he feel?
Ferdinand felt really angry.
Yeah, he was angry. Because he was in what?
Pain.
He was in pain. Where did you think he got stung? If he sat down on the flower, where do you think he got stung, Stephen?
He got stung on his body.
On his what? He got stung right on his bottom.
Would you be mad if somebody got, if you did that to you?
And I'm gonna make a woo face. Well, because that would hurt, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a new question that we have is, what might happen because those ladies have their flowers in their hair? Now, think about where we saw the flowers earlier, and think about what was in the last flower that we saw. What was in the last flower that we saw, Ethan?
A bee.
A bee was in the last flower, so think about what you think might happen. Let's find out. They had a parade into the bull ring. So everybody's all excited. First came the, oh goodness, banderillos. I don't know how to speak. So first came the banderillos with long sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bowl and make him mad. Ooh, so they were going to use pins to stick the bowls and make them
Mad.
Next came the picadors, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bowl to make him madder. Ethan, can you see? Does this sound like a good idea?
No.
Then came the matador, the proudest of them all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape, which Ethan told us about earlier. He had a red cape and a sword that was supposed to stick the bull last of all. And do bulls like red?
No.
Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Ferdinand.
So I want you to look at the picture. Look at where Ferdinand is and look at how he looks. What question do you have? What question do you have as we move forward? Harmony?
Will he fight the ladies? Will he fight the ladies?
So will Ferdinand fight?
Yeah. Will Ferdinand fight the ladies? Because they have flowers in there.
Oh, ooh, look at you tying stuff together. Excuse me, Mary. So will Ferdinand fight the bodies? So will Ferdinand fight the ladies? Ooh, that's a very good question. Ready to find out?
Yes!
They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderellos were afraid of him, and the picadors were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. So they're all terrified. They're all terrified. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smiled. So you know what? I have a question now. How will the men react? Because Ferdinand, he just sat down and started sniffing the flowers. So I wonder what they will do. So I wonder what they will do. Do we know the answer yet?
No.
No, not yet. So we have to what to find out?
Read.
You have to finish reading to find out. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderellos were mad, and the picadors were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried. He couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite court tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end. So, let's take a look at some of our questions that we have. So one of our questions is, what might happen because the ladies have flowers? So what was something that you thought might have happened? Because I know what I was thinking. What did you think, Ethan, might have happened because the ladies had flowers?
I thought he wouldn't fight.
So you thought he was going to fight?
No, I said I thought he wouldn't fight.
Oh, you thought he wouldn't fight?
Yeah.
Why not?
If he sees flowers, then he just like sit down and smell. And the smell one.
Oh, so you already knew how much he liked flowers, so you're like, oh, he's not going to do anything.
And can I tell them the question that they answered?
Can you save it
Yeah.
for when it's time to write about it? Okay. Not if you're sitting like that. Oh, okay. Kendra, go ahead.
I thought when the ladies had flowers in their hair, I thought it was going to be bees coming out.
You thought what? You thought beans were going to come out?
Bees.
Bees. Okay.
And they was
I
going
was like
to,
beans.
and then the bees were going to sting him. And then he would get real angry. Then he would start fighting. When he looked at the color red, he would get real angry and just start fighting.
So you thought there might have been more bees in the flowers, and they might have stung him, right? Well, when we looked at our story, we had another question. Will Ferdinand fight the ladies? Did he fight the ladies?
No.
No. Did he fight at all?
No.
No. He didn't fight because he wanted to stop and smell the what?
Flowers.
So how would you describe Ferdinand the bull? How would you describe him? So I would describe Ethan as Ethan's nice and Ethan's really funny. How would you describe Ferdinand the bull? Kaylee, how would you describe him?
I would describe him like
Go watch.
nice
he's gentle, right? Because he was very nice. He wasn't like, "Rah!" He's like, oh, you want to stop and smell the flowers. Yeah, he didn't want to fight anybody.
But then when he got angry, when the bee sting him on the bottom, then he got angry.
Well, that's because he was in.
Pain.
Right? Raise your hand if you get a little angry when you're in pain. Just a little bit, right? And it hurts. And you're hurting and you want everybody to know, right? Okay, so hands down. So, what did the bullfighting men, what do you think they thought about Ferdinand? Madison, what did you think? Yeah, so what did the bullfighting men think about Ferdinand?
I think that
When he got stung and he was all like, what did they think?
I think they thought that he was like fun and scary.
Yeah, so they thought he was scary and they thought he was fierce and ferocious, right? But they thought all those things. Was that true about Ferdinand? So did that change who Ferdinand was? So Kaylee said that Ferdinand was kind and he was nice and he was sweet and he was gentle. But these men, they thought he was fierce and ferocious and mean and nasty. Did their thoughts change who Ferdinand was?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
No. Ferdinand stayed the same, right? And he stayed exactly how he
Was.
because he loved himself just the way he is. And I love Ferdinand just the way he is. So, at the end of our story, do you think Ferdinand was happy to be back home?
Yes.
Why? Jennifer?
He liked to smell of flowers.
Yeah, he liked to smell the flowers and he was back to doing what he liked, right? Yeah, I strongly agree. I strongly agree. Okay? So here's what we're going to do now, okay?
Okay.
So now that we've learned how to ask questions, we've learned how to answer questions, right? And we've been stopping and we've been learning and remembering and engaging and all this wonderful stuff. Now we're going to go back to our seats. And I'm going to have you work on 2 things, okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look back at the 2 questions that you wrote down. Remember we wrote those a long time ago this morning? We wrote those at the beginning of the day? So you're going to look back at your 2 questions that you wrote, and you're going to answer them. Now that we've read our whole story, now you're going to write down your answers. So you can just draw a line, and you can write 1, and you can write a sentence to answer that question number 1. Then you can write a 2 and write down just a sentence to answer question number 2. Okay? So if my first question was, is Ferdinand a boy or a girl? Then I would write 1. Ferdinand is a boy. Bull. Okay? And then 2. Answer your question number 2. Capiche?
Copy.
So while you guys are working on that, I'm going to walk around and I will be checking and collecting your papers. And then the other thing that you're going to work on, so after you get through answering your 2 questions, then I want you to continue working on your flip books. So Rodney, can you grab yours real fast?
Yes.
So earlier we were working on our flip books, right? Hang on 1 second. So we were working on our flip books, and I'll get you started when they're working. So earlier we were working on our flip books. We had who, we had
Where?
hello, we had
What? When? Why? How?
So we're going to answer these questions either with pictures or with sentences underneath each flag. So earlier we said who, and we said Ferdinand. Ooh, look at Rodney's picture of Ferdinand. That's really good. Okay. And then next we answered where, and we said and a pasture in Spain, where most of the story happened, right? So next we're going to say what happened. What was one of the things, one of the problems that happened in the story, Nikira?
He got stung by a bee.
He got stung by a bee. So you can write me a sentence and draw me a picture of him getting stung by a bee. Think about when it happened. Okay? Think about why it happened. I want you to tell me how it all got fixed. So how was everything fixed at the end? Okay?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
So you have how many things to do?
2.
2 things to do. First, I want you to answer your 2 questions that you wrote this morning. After you finish that, next you are to continue working on your flip books. Got it?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Good. If your birthday is in November, like mine, you may go back to your seat. Really?
November?
Nobody's birthday is in November? Fine. If your birthday is in, if your birthday's in May, you may go back to your seat. June, you may go back to your seat. July. August. September. October. No, December. January. March. February. Is that yours? Okay. Let me see. Yes, now I want you to write down the answer.